Welcome to my presentation. I'm here today to talk about micro LED with quantum dots. Micro LED is a future display technology. This display is promising and several companies has released their micro LED display products 5 to 10 years earlier. For instance, in 2018, Samsung introduced 146-inch TV The Wall. Sony also introduced the same display technology in 2012, which has 1920 times 1080p resolution consisting of 6 million micro LEDs. A company called Furial successfully constructed 30,000 ppi with 100,000 nits brightness, which is a world record. Micro LED is a very promising technology and many companies are trying to release their micro LED products in the future. For instance, Samsung is doing research on micro LED to make next generation TV that has better color gamut, contrast and brightness compared to OLED display. While Apple are making innovation in micro LED application for AR glasses, which has been rumored to be released within the next 5 to 10 years. This makes micro LED the technology of the future. There is a challenge ongoing in micro LED research, which is to make high density display with 2000 ppi with a display size larger than 2 inches. Most of the display that has very high ppi mostly only has 2 inches in sizes, and further research is required to make the display possess white color gamut. Some of you may be wondering whether the newest Samsung micro LED display also uses quantum dot. Currently, Samsung is also producing and selling quantum dot displays which has white color gamut. But current micro LED technology uses small RGB chips which are based on phosphor-converted LED technology. The phosphor materials will convert the blue light from the gallium nitride LED to different colors in RGB pixel. So micro LED display that is currently sold by Samsung is not based on quantum dot technology. So why do we use phosphor-converted LED technology? Gallium nitride and indium gallium nitride are highly efficient photon emitters. It also works at different environments. Indium gallium nitride blue LED reach external quantum efficiency greater than 80%. External quantum efficiency is the ratio of extracted photons over injected carrier. It represents the ratio between the number of photons and the total charge carrier that recombine together. The high external quantum efficiency makes it feasible to convert the light from indium gallium nitride and gallium nitride using phosphor materials. There is another approach, however, called as color mixture LED. It utilizes aluminum, gallium, indium, phosphor for the red LED, gallium nitride for the blue LED, and indium gallium nitride for the green LED. The red, green, and blue is emitted directly from the LED. But this approach is not practical. First, we have to consider the low efficiency of green LED. For green LEDs, the active regions need a high fraction of indium, which requires a relatively lower glow temperature, therefore leading to poor crystal quality of the LED epi layer. Furthermore, indium can cause internal polarization. Internal polarization can move the electron and hole to the two opposite sides of the quantum well. As a result, the combination efficiency is reduced significantly. The active region of the red LED is composed of aluminum, gallium, indium, phosphor material, which possesses a high surface recombination velocity and together with a long carrier diffusion length of approximately a few microns, makes the non-radioactive surface recombination more significant. Aluminum, gallium, indium, phosphor possess some properties that does not allow the material to be used effectively as light emitting diode. As the device dimension shrinks to a few microns, the reduced EQE or external quantum efficiency in red micro-LED does not allow efficient photon generation. Moreover, there is difference in diode voltage needed to turn on the blue, green, and red, making the circuit design complicated for color mixture LED. This is why color mixture LED is not used. This is the illustration of PC-LED, which convert the blue light to a different wavelength of color by using phosphor materials. There are many research that has been done, and in fact, PC-LED is the most common LED technology used in everyday lives. But phosphor materials cannot satisfy the color purity requirement needed by the market, since it has spectral broadness and asymmetry and unstable. It also has low efficiency and low absorption cross-section in the blue or UV wavelength region. Instead of using phosphor materials, we can use colloidal quantum dots. There are many benefits provided by colloidal quantum dots for LEDs, including their narrow emission line width and high photoluminescence quantum yield. High photoluminescence quantum yield is the number of photons emitted as a fraction of the number of photons absorbed. It also high photostability, solution processability, and low fabrication cost. Colloidal quantum dot is cheaper, but it will provide better color gamut. Thus, quantum dot is better choice than phosphor. So how about OLED? Micro LED technology is better compared to OLED since micro LED has wide color gamut, low response time, and better stability and also brightness. OLED is made from organic materials that have lower carrier mobility. That is why micro LED has better response time compared to OLED. It also has low power consumption and is suitable for producing ultra high definition display. When we incorporate quantum dot to micro LED, we could increase the color gamut on our micro LED display, offering a competitive advantage compared to current quantum dot LCD display. Following is the table comparing three different display technologies: LCD, OLED, and micro LED. OLED has medium cost, while micro LED has a high cost. This is the problem that is needed to be tackled before micro LED can enter the consumer market. If we take a look, micro LED has superior efficiency, viewing angle, response time, lifespan, contrast ratio, and operating temperature. So the micro LED display that we are talking about so far is the development from PL-based LED or phosphor converted light emitting diode based LED that uses phosphor to convert the blue light from the gallium nitride LED. We replace the phosphor with quantum dots to produce better image and color, and we call this as phosphor converted LED quantum dots or PLQD. While the self-emitting quantum dot or ELQD is still under development and has not entered the market yet, since it has shorter time compared to PLQD. Now let's dive into the most important part of micro LED development, which is the development of its fabrication technology. This technology will determine whether it is possible to launch micro LED into the market. Design and fabrication. The manufacturing process of micro LED can be divided into three parts. The first stage is LED epitaxy and chip processing. The second stage is micro LED transfer to a substrate. The third stage is placing the RGB quantum dots. In LED epitaxy and chip processing, first gallium nitride and indium gallium nitride are gone on a C-plane sapphire substrate or 111 Si substrate by metal organic chemical vapor deposition. Then the indium tin oxide is deposited as a transparent current spreading layer and as an ohmic peak contact. The current spreading layer's function is to ensure that the injected current is spread as evenly as possible across the near surface area of the device, while an ohmic peak contact wall is to allow charge to flow easily in both directions. After that, the LED mesa is defined to the etching process and is etched all the way down to the N gallium nitride. Then P and N electrodes are deposited by electron beam evaporation. Next, we are going to talk about the problems that may occur during micro LED manufacturing. These problems often become the driver behind micro LED manufacturing technology innovations. The first problem that we are going to talk is defect. Defectivity is a key parameter for micro LEDs and significantly affects the display quality and the product cost. In the past, the defectivity of the LED mesa was not a concern in the fabrication of conventional LED. Defect becomes significant when the size of defect is large enough compared to the chip size. In micro LED, the difference between microchip and defect size is smaller. The control of number of pixels with defects is a major issue for large-scale mass transfer, a typical process in the fabrication of micro-LED displays, to assemble a large number of micro-LED units onto a backplane substrate. So many of you may wonder, what is the size of killer defects? Well, for the Quad HD smartphone and 4K TV, the transfer block size are 0.92 cm squared and 10 cm squared respectively, while the killer defect size are only 1 micrometer and 3 micrometer respectively, which means that the defect rate should be under 1.1%. This what makes making micro LED challenging. The existence of surface defects can generate non-radioactive recombination and lead to great reduction of the device's external quantum efficiency. Previous study has discovered that as the chip size drops, the performance of LED declines. The external quantum efficiency against LED size plot in this figure demonstrates that as the LED dimension falls from 500 meter to 10 meter, the EQE value decreases from 10% to 5%. When the sizes of the LED chip reduces, the surface volume ratio of the LED increases, implying a higher risk of surface defect for a given volume. At the surface, dangling bonds, residual oxides, and nitrogen vacancies have the ability to generate deep trap states in the bandgap area, which act as non-radioactive recombination sites in reducing quantum efficiency. Surface imperfections also impact the surrounding region, ultimately causing the performance of complete micro-LED to deteriorate. This is called sidewall effect. According to an earlier study, surface imperfections generally impact an area between 1 to 10 micrometer, which is roughly comparable to the Carrier diffusion length. Therefore, surface treatment is necessary to minimize the sidewall effect. It has been confirmed that surface passivation is an effective way to avoid defects states and increase the EQEs of LEDs. It is reported that by using the atomic layer deposition technique to deposit a silicon oxide layer for a sidewall passivation, the EQE can be effectively improved from 24 to 33% for 20 times 20 micrometer squared micro LED devices. For micro-LED displays, spectral uniformity is another important factor for micro-LED display. The LED industry is moving towards using larger wafers in order to cut manufacturing costs, which results in a major increase in the usable wafer area in each MOCVD process. However, a significant thermal and lattice mismatch between the LED apply layer and substrates can cause wafer bowing in big wafers. The main problem is that during the MOCVD process, uneven heating on the wafer causes non-uniform indium distribution in indium gallium nitride heterostructures. A prior work demonstrated the significance of temperature control in epitaxial manufacturing by showing that a 1 degree Celsius change in temperature would cause a 1.8 nanometer variation in emission wavelength in a blue LED. Further research has to be done to tackle this issue. Next, we are going to talk about micro-LED transfer processes to a substrate. The assembly process for micro-LED display is based on two technologies. In mass transfer technology, micro-LEDs are separated into individual dies, which are picked up and transferred in groups from a mother wafer to a target substrate. This approach allows spatial distribution of micro-LED and is used for fabricating large-size displays. Several approaches have been evaluated to massively assemble micro-LEDs, including elastomer stamping, electrostatic transfer, electromagnetic transfer, laser-assisted transfer, and fluid self-assembly. Let's discuss the first method, elastomer stamp micro transfer printing technology, in which devices were transferred by non-elastomer stamp utilizing van der Waals force of polydimethyl siloxane. The typical elastomer stamping technique could manipulate micro-LED at a high transfer yield of 99.99%, while it typically delivers a processing speed of 10,000 to 25,000 microchips per hour. The second method is electrostatic transfer techniques. These techniques utilize voltage-induced adhesion to transfer micro-LEDs. First, the transfer head is stick to the micro-devices by applying a positive voltage to the electrode in the transfer head, creating a grip force on the micro-device to lift off the devices from the mother substrate. Then the micro-LED on the transfer head will release onto the receiving substrate by applying a negative voltage to the other electrode of the transfer head. This technique enables large-scale micro-LED transfer, but they may cause LED breakdown due to application of high voltage. Besides using electric signal, magnetic field can also be used. This process consists of detaching micro-LEDs from the mother wafer with electromagnetic transfer heads, applying an electrical signal to generate a magnetic attraction, and then transferring the micro-LEDs to the receiving substrate. However, this process requires an additional ferromagnetic layer since it uses magnetic field. The next method is laser assembled transfer. This method utilizes laser to transfer and place discrete micropads onto a receiving substrate. The micro-LED release process is driven by thermomechanical response of the dynamic release layer under laser irradiation. The number of micro-LED that can be placed is about 100 million microchips per hour. The placement error is about 1.8 micrometer for 50 times 50 times 6 micrometer. The high accuracy and efficiency makes this method often used in micro-LED commercialization. The third method is fluid self-assembly. In this method, micro-LED are suspended in fluid. Acetone or distilled water flowing across an emissive substrate that is designed with wells in the top of the surface. Due to gravity and capillary forces, the micro-devices are driven to move across the surface of the substrate until they are captured in the wells. Precise position and assembly could be achieved during the flowing process, with a transfer rate of over million units per hour. This method is a low-cost method with 56 million microchips per hour. However, the number of microchips is still less than the laser-assisted transfer. Next, we will discuss monolithic integration technique. This technique is used to produce high PPI display with dimensions smaller than 2 inches. The technique is typically used for compact handheld projectors and augmented reality or mixed reality devices and see-through glass devices applications. We use this technique because the small pixel pitch requirement for the micro-LED cannot be satisfied by mass transfer techniques. Instead, the scaling of micro-LEDs for microdisplays utilize direct integration of micro-LED chips with a silicon backplane at the chip level. Integration technology relates to the electrical connection of each individual micro-LED pixel to the corresponding path of the active matrix. The first technique is metal wiring, which the metal is utilized to connect the LED chip to the pad or circuit. But this method is limited by low resolution and wire fragility. Second method is flip chip bonding. In this method, the chip is first flipped before stick to the circuit. It has high yield but unfortunately incompatible with the pixel pitch, less than 10 micrometers. Another technique is microtube bonding. The microtubes are created on the pads of the circuit and then inserted into the micro LED pads after alignment. This technique is compatible for micro LED with pixel pitch smaller than 10 micrometer. These techniques allow room temperature operation, which overcome the limitation of thermal mismatch or thermal expansion of the substrate. The last technique is adhesive bonding. Adhesive bonding typically uses an anisotropic conductive film for integration via thermocompressive processes. The anisotropic conductive film induces great strong adhesion and interconnection between micro LEDs. This technique is suitable for flexible displays. Last, we will talk about the most important and exciting part of micro LED, which is the application of quantum dots in micro LED. I will discuss how quantum dot is placed in the micro LED array. One of the successful methods is by using aerosol jet printing to spray RGB quantum dots on the surface of a UV micro LED array to achieve a full color micro LED display. If we pay attention to the picture, a black photoresist mold is placed between pixels, which consists a window for quantum dot printing and a blocking wall. The blocking wall is used to reduce optical crosstalk between the RGB quantum dots, which cause a fuzzy boundary between adjacent pixels. There are several issues when using quantum dot as color conversion material. First is about how to completely remove blue excitation light from gallium nitride-based LEDs. After testing, it is discovered that the unintended blue excitation light from gallium nitride still exists. One approach is employing a distributed Bragg refractor structure on the top of QD layers to avoid leakage of the blue light, and also by using the color filter. But interestingly, quantum dots themselves can absorb the blue light. There are several methods that has been developed to improve the efficiency of quantum dot-based micro LED display. For instance, we can have a hybrid Bragg refractor that was deposited on the bottom of the substrate to reflect the RGB light and enhance the output intensity. Second is by utilizing the non-radioactive Foster resonant energy transfer mechanism that also has been developed in micro LED display to improve the color conversion efficiency. The basic principle is to transfer the excess excitons generated in indium gallium nitride multiple quantum wells to quantum dot acceptors, thus producing more light from quantum dot. That is my presentation. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. Thank you, and let's move on to Q&A station.